everybody, this is Diana from Sew Very Crafty, and today we are here to make a twisted infinity scarf. And the reason that I make this twisted is because it gives it a fuller look, I think, than if it's not twisted. And I've used just a yard of fabric for this particular project, but you can make it as long or as short as you want for your scarf. This for me is a remnant project, a 1 yard wonder project that I used a flannel remnant that I had on hand, and it took about 5 minutes for me to put this together. It's very, very simple. Anyone can do this. This is another beginner sewing project here at Sew Very Crafty, and I hope that you will give this one a try. It is super, super simple. And if you like this project, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and ding that bell for notifications so that you get notified of future Sew Very Crafty videos. And head over to the website for more sewing and crafting projects that you won't see here on the YouTube channel. And you can get there at www.sewverycrafty.com, and you will see tons of sewing and crafting tutorials that you just don't see here. But for today, we are going to make this twisted infinity scarf that any beginner sewist can make for their first piece of clothing. So let's get started. So how do we make this super simple twisted infinity scarf with 1 yard of fabric? Yes, just 1 yard of fabric. It is so easy. I have a yard of flannel here, but you could actually make this scarf out of anything that you want. I actually have one of these that I made out of sort of a polyester fabric that's just sort of decorative. It's not meant for warmth. This one, because it's been so cold here in where I live, that I decided to make something that's going to be a little warm. So I have spread out my fabric here, my 1 yard of flannel, and I am going to cut just along the long fold here using my scissors. And that's all there is to that. I'm only going to use 1/2 of my flannel. And the beauty of flannel is there's no real right side or wrong side to this. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to place it right sides together. So even though there's no real right sides or wrong sides, I am placing this so that the 2 sides are together. And if you have a fabric that you're using that has right and wrong sides to, showing, then make sure that you're putting these right sides together. And I want to make sure that my ends are even. So I'm going to get out my rotary cutter and I'm just going to even up these ends, because this is actually a remnant that I got at Joann's, where it was 50% off. I love remnants because they are 50% off, and if I can get them in 1 yard increments, then it's perfect for so many projects that I do here at Sew Very Crafty. Now I'm going to do the same thing for the bottom. Just make it so that it's even. The next step to this project is I'm just going to head over to the sewing machine and I'm going to stitch along this long edge, and I'm going to use a 1/2 inch seam allowance when I'm doing this. I'm not going to show that on the video because it's just a straight seam along this long edge of the fabric here, and I'll be right back. Now I'm back and I have stitched what is essentially a large tube, and I'm going to turn this tube right sides out. And now on our flannel we'll be able to tell what's the right side and what's the wrong side because of the seam. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to twist this by flipping this over. And I'm going to peel back this end and stuff all of this inside. Because what I want is I want these raw edges to meet so that they are right sides together. Because we need to sew these short ends together. And I'm going to take some pins and I'm going to pin these short ends together so that when we finish our scarf, it's going to be one big circle. And as I said, this looks kind of like a blob of fabric, but all you're really doing here is lining up these short raw edges in a circle, and you have all the rest of the fabric on the inside. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to stitch these raw edges together using a 1/2 inch seam allowance. But we're going to leave a little bit of an opening right about here so that we can turn this and make sure that it's right sides out when we are completely finished with our project. So let's head over to the sewing machine and let's just do a quick stitch all the way around here, so that we can then finish up this project. Okay, we are here at the sewing machine, and I'm just going to take off my little table here and use my free arm. I'm going to start stitching around these raw edges, starting at my yellow pin using a 1/2 inch seam allowance. I'm going to take this pin out. And I'm going to continue to take out the pins as I stitch along. Now I'm here at my white pin, and I'm just going to stop stitching here because I need this opening so that I can turn this right sides out. Now I finished stitching my short edges together, and I'm going to just reach in and pull this scarf right sides out through the opening. And as you can see, we have a scarf that goes all the way around, but it's twisted in the middle. And so when you put it on, you can either wear it just like this or double it up. It's a little small to double up because of the 1 yard of fabric, but it can be done depending on how big you are or small you are. But the next thing that we need to do is we need to stitch up this opening in our scarf where we turned our project right sides out. I'm just going to put some pins here so I know where it is, because all this fabric looks the same. I'm going to take a needle and thread, and I'm going to use ladder stitch to stitch this project together. Now, ladder stitch is a hand stitch that I'm going to start going in the opposite direction. I can take out this pin now. Then I'm going to flip it around. And I'm just going to place my needle in the fold of the fabric. And once I've done that, I'm going to just go immediately across to the other fold and push my needle down a little further. And I'm going to repeat that process of going directly across and down the fold. And this creates a ladder effect if you were to open up this seam. But while the seam is closed, you can't even see it. It looks like it was sewn there with the machine. So I like to use ladder stitch. It's a very simple stitch to learn. And it is invisible once you get the hang of it. Because I'm actually using gray thread here. And you can't even see where I've sewn these ladder stitches to sew up this portion of my scarf. The key for this really is making sure that you go directly across on the stitches and down the fold. And we have completed our ladder stitch. I'm just going to knot this off and hide the tail in the inside of the scarf. And that's it. That's all there is to this twisted infinity scarf. Anybody can make this. It takes 5 minutes to do. It is so simple. There are 2 seams that you need to sew for this to get a nice infinity scarf. And you can make this as long or as short as you want. But this is, in my opinion, a 1 yard wonder that you can make with just 1 yard of fabric. using a remnant if you like. But if you want something longer that you can wrap around your neck, then by all means make it longer. It's the same process no matter what you do. So I hope you enjoyed this project today, and if you did, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and ding that bell for notifications so that you get notified of future Sew Very Crafty videos as they come out. And if you don't have time to watch the videos, or you want more sewing and crafting projects that aren't on the YouTube channel, head over to www.sewverycrafty.com for loads and loads of pictorial tutorials, if you will, of sewing and crafting projects that you just simply don't see here on the YouTube channel. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this nice, warm, twisted infinity scarf, and I hope you'll make one today or maybe tomorrow to keep your neck nice and warm for this cold winter year. And that's it, and I will see you guys next time.